The Tale of Genji. Sakari Tree. Murasaki Shikibu. Omo Bran Rubble of the Azusa River is the god of propriety. Dried up she of the only people hate Akiko. Miyasunda Koro closer if the date to be downward is close ties of Saiku were become Kokorobasoku. In the after Sadaijin housewife of Genji is no longer. To the public also is now is that which has been rumored to be composed to openly couple Genji and Miyasunda Koro. Also excitement in anticipation of such a joy people of Rokuho of residence but those had been in the opposite that has appeared at all. Genji is the removal of the callous attitude Masa previously. This only thing that antipathy, such as having Genji there was during the illness of his wife was also not think out of the longer doubt also that there is no Miyasunda Koro of mind. In Shinobu in pain Miyasunda Koro decided to carrying out the eyes bound. Examples such as going with a mother Kunda Saiku but was also that it is not too much. Have entrusted their lives to the fact that will have you in the young. But Miyasunda Koro is the clean trying to chow away from love. Genji is truly calm and did not have. Finally a pity be Shimawa went to Miyasunda Koro. Letter only had sent often with love. Things like meet his lover was wondering the other now Miyasunda Koro and unexpected so. Still it does not disappear Genji of memory that I thought your Meshiku even to myself will be. Farewell to calm, but their own with a weakness that I love you more and more that person is not to disturb the heart. Will not help. Meet it is thought that only add more pain on this. Miyasunda Koro has become in by force chilly. Is also certain to be from the field of the temple have gone back softly to Rokuho of residence. But Genji did not know it, because not a through and may place man as lover speaking of the field of the temple. For two people was standing a month with no time to see face. Without the hospital is that your serious illness. From time to time or there be such that the attacks to bad you will. Genji had finally become only less margin of mind. That end up leaving that a grudge against the it was poor because of the woman. I think because it will also be not positive to hear a person. Genji decided to visit to the temple of the field the Miyasunda Koro. Because there was a 7 days in September. It is the imminent day of departure of the other Saiku. But also towards the woman had come to say that not do so hurriedly now. Often because the letter goes. While hesitation that it would be what is such that the last conference stopped only to meet with things over I decided that it would be nice if in his heart had been waiting for the visit of an old lover. From the time came to wide field away from the town. Genji would remember what the shim to the body. Gone waned all other akikusa of flowers. He each other mixed crows insect of the voice and the sound of the wind pine and scree. Flowing musical sound enough not heard is not dispensed the ear well in it from more of the temple of the field and it was coming. It is a gloss flare. Although it is a figure of traveling incognito accompanied chose Matsumi grandfathers to be the precursor tens of several people and the Zujin so as not so much conspicuous. That Genji came clean pretending to deliberately go this field the youth of the favorite wind flow. Today was not amused. Also the heart of Genji. Why was frustrating that it would again and again also did not leave the good no naka of the road of this feeling to visit until now. Field of the house is a humble stance that had been chosen by a simple koshi bagaki and ogaki. And such as a log of torii is truly divine. It was likely embarrassed persons other than somehow ministers of God. With not how many men here and there seems to priests, or a cough, as well, such as how you are or were stood talking, was a sight which is not seen elsewhere. Seen floating faintly is Banda Koro captured with the firing of a bonfire. Is cans of hitosakuna of humid air to the whole. And I think the people who are pensive in a place like this had continued also lived several January. Genji has a lover it did not have tragic. When standing at an inconspicuous beneath the pair of North Lodge the guidance voice of music I ceased. I heard that seems to be a woman of the clothing of young many people. and women of the agency is or come out with or changed in later. That they apparently do not try to out himself, Genji thought, less than tired. My era was also decky left to the emotional things like smitten to visit people, Mrs. I have passed already. If no matter how I like it might if they come, Habaka, the world. You please sympathy, not be relied as such aloof your treatment. Or does not please also heard cannot help but want to talk I make there. Quote. Also wives and seriously Genji is askin'. Better of you say it you will find a you most forever to foo your pitiful and we leave to stand. Your sorry is, and intercede. Miyasunda Koro was wondering what to do. It is to the priests who are about Kesai plants may either be any imagination. Kokoro yoaku by to accept the meeting. It is hesitate and do not by once again contempt of Genji. Even where coldly lost the feeling cannot. In the state of Miyasunda Koro executive come towards the end of the parlor while leaked the Tansoku. There was a good gloss elegance. Genji, could you have your edge only as forgiveness? To say, it was rising to the top. To meeting you in a long time date. Heartless and did not say not also bad it determines the prose speaking. And the hat in his hand and broke a little branch of sakari. Genji is placed from the bottom of the bamboo blind hand. I have confidence in my heart of tequila color. I came to visit you also to the location of the fear. You become your treatment cold. And he said, Kogek is sakari to break teha makai those defunct also cedar sign. Miyasunda Koro is the replied. Otomego what creased to stop Natsuka Shimi in sense of sakari yo if omo and atari. And Genji were I say. While being intimidating air of Kesai office also into mistakes only the upper body is too long pressed to put Genji ice or more suffering. Miyasunda Koro is not more completely those of Genji. Yet the time of the passion to hire was era than Genji. Genji did not admit this person of true value in the form that was conceded. Also from the time also it came happening unpleasant incident. While his heart had been allowed to make love. When it tried telling as the old days, that the suddenly attract large force toward the Miyasunda Koro captures the Genji I could not. Cans. When I stood on the recognition that he himself was fond of this person. Also will miss the old days of two people. Loneliness of the after parting be considered acutely. Is the Genji burst into tears. Woman while trying no matter strictly suppressed emotions. But come Kokoro Guro Shiku finally Genji and see that tears so as not to be answered. We're talking about putting yourself in to try to dissuade the eye's flights. Whether another month fell, while looking at the sky has changed to lonely color. Look at the tan rather Genji by not observed of its own truth. Looked would be to disappear also estimates piled up Urameshi of Miyasunda Koro it was not until now that could give up. And although it had to avoid the dangerous conference must not be supposed to be upset. Heart of Miyasunda Koro as you premonition had been disturbed. Two young palace circles officials all the time. That is come and three people families have to pleasure going immersed in the individual literary air. Long in this stance is in what certainly shine in the eyes of Genji looked. A pensive conversation dodged the two people who tasted in both the love of the only hard copy. It is also like a background that was deliberately left over that there is sky been finally. Shalong. Akatsuki of farewell is always of this autumn sky con of which is not known world Tsuyugeki. And Genji was singing. Was fu not be left for a while to capture the woman's hand as you go home. Chilly in September the wind is blowing. The is also as accompaniment of lonely farewell of the lovers hear the voice of the pine cricket. Was from the squeal. Anything not to have to these late autumn of dawn to give a thought to shim the body and to the people. It appears to have not been able to in the song good to feel rather the people who were to grief. 2. Pine cricket sounds of hydrogenated naval field side that rather than the sad also mostly of the fall of farewell. It is a work of Miyasunda Koro. Yarn was able to connect with this person forever. While regret to have gone out on their own negligence. Genji went away for fear of going bright. and it is constantly tears spilled until you get to the article of the hospital. Woman was not impossible calm. Hugging the musings of the after parting was for the weekly autumn morning. Miyasunda Koro. The appearance of Genji viewed in the light of faintly month note to the vision is to have seen. Smell was scattered from the clothes of Genji. Such a thing was applause this morning enough to think that it would be for up to a young wife us. Crazy in the Kikaki. What good dat to the place. I do not feel like going to a country that cannot be looked up at you. The general's wife to say this was not weeping. Everyone. Letter this day came from Genji is not out of the information is particularly delicate. But there was also a force sufficient to abandon the journey to Miyasunda Koro. Did not also be capable of changes now having undergone be notified to the authorities. But man is also a letter of love that it is not so much thought as intended to write an exaggerated emotion. In the case of now of Genji, Miyasunda Koro that the only lover did not never think is to the liquidation of love since then it is to go to a distant land if Fu was gone. Also it seems to regret, because it is a letter written in pretty terrible feeling of agony of regret also to be sorry. What it went sounded to woman must from clothes during the journey of Miyasunda Koro. Until of wives, that even if other bon voyage that equipment was also aligned the fine things of the trip came a gift from Genji. Miyasunda Koro also was not in the mind afford to think like happy. In love as sung in rumors, that the last was discarded. It was to appear only Kuchio Shiku sad as it began now. Your young Saiku became pleased that it has decided the time that the starting of the day that was not might be in the world, or criticized as being unusual as that his mother is keep up. Had inner compassion who has also a strong maternal love of Miyasunda Koro. If their Miyasunda Koro is in a mediocre person, it is never likely to be was not the case. Outstanding man of action is a sorry and easy to stand in the eye. There was an expression of your purification ceremony of Saiku in the Katsura River in the 16th. Morjore Nines was also performed their expression. Length seeing an emperor off use. High-ranking officials to attend were also each other to choose the only people with energizing name from the other authorities. Hospital is because Arazarareru in your patron. Letter to the departure of the day wrote the unbearable heart to separation of information from Genji came. In addition to also say to you the house of Hitoshi. It was also those attached to Hitoshi cloth. Even the god of thunder say and not as Ripon the lover. Yashimomo country 1 Gokami also relay the inside of farewell, not read if coarsely heart. Because I do not know if even thought Shinryo, I will not be satisfied. It had been written with, had captured was the reply. Your song of the house is a woman beto were those ghost writing. Previous Zuya Tada per Kunitsa Kamasora to otherwise mentioned if must be Hozarian. Genji is the last I thought also wanna see a court formula. Man is go throw was in the house I think the embarrassment that goes out to see off. Genji had watched with a smile the precocious was owed in reply of Saiku. Breast rang and I think that I feel that he has become better than aged lady is. In the habit of the Genji movement of curiosity in people who should not be in love. If you see the face, it is regrettable that ended the childhood of the well could be its Saiku as it is. But fate is not foreseen or not go if it has because it is life. Also Genji thought also the day when better able to see the man himself as not may have been waiting for. High insight. Was the day when the watch cars are on many an attempt Nagameo the columns of the departure of Saiku that along the Miyasunda Koro that has become famous there and there is a beautiful lady. Saiku became enter your to court to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Miyasunda Koro while riding together in the house of Kosi. His father of the minister with the concubines of the crown prince and Gishi to after the future. Or was that handled no matter how gorgeous? The unfortunate fate of the ends of after palanquin yourself deep emotion and I think that is to see the court was immeasurable. Slightly the Beijo to palanquin not. 16 in becoming the crown prince of the wife, now widow, was 20. 30 as was entered into today also imperial palace. Today domo flippin omo over sono kami, each object within the heart sad, is a song of Miyasunda Koro. Saiku became their you at 14. Besides being a beautiful one, because now come wrapped in splendid, it was you're beautiful enough to not see the women of this world. While struck the Gokakoro to the beauty of Tokyo, when it comes to giving your points to your comb, farewell to hair. Emperor became it as shows in the fu became to become your unbearable sorrow. Once again sleeves color of beauty which is visible from the car riding of wives of Saiku waiting in front of the Hachi show council. End of expression was particularly caught the eye go by young palace circles officials. It was not spared the farewell of the individual and matrix after dark. It is moving, because was there a hospital of article where the break the highway of sinus council from 2 articles. Genji, while the I think the shame to acquire scent refers to a song in Sakari. Furusuit and Suzuka River also go today. 80 wet flip sleeves and shallows of the wave. At that time there was also another dark, so hastily also there was. The next day, reply of Miyasunda Koro from across the Osaka Yamas came. Suzuka River 80 someone omoyo goes due to eyes without getting wet in the shallows of the wave. It is simply be written, but it was a clever character in the noble's likeness, and it will be at the top of the letter after a little addition of tenderness. Genji thought. Fog is not at stake. Dark. Looking at the sky of the fall of dawn, the shame to the body. Genji, go who does do it, also looked at this fall as separated mist the Osaka Yama Resina. I had been humming a song like this. Genji lived in an all-day pensive without going also to the west of the pair. Miyasunda Koro became the traveler would be to have tasted much less unbearable sadness. Your illness of hospital became your critical condition since the beginning in October. This is not what you have not done so generous you. Emperor was also Asobasa to Miyuki of worry. Your weakness Asobasa the hospital became astute to Kesu Gesu Emperor that of the crown prince. Then ranged in Genji, so that the same as when I was alive. The important also may leave him even Shoji to consult the other party. Years and are equipped with fully qualified to take the young even national politics. I admit. One country it is those who have the rule to phrenology. So I think also that he must not be able to receive a misunderstanding in the reverse at that point. It had been put in the column of retainers without the prince. As a future minister I tried to leave it to the state. Please respect my this word deceased even after, before the emperor, but was often also your will that stated the hope as the father of the now of the monarch. The author as a woman is not able to transcribe and sink hairs. Emperor even this became to come to hear it Fusa to become a seiyu of the hospital at the end of your conference, but became a vow you repeat that unexpected shigai for your last will and testament. In their appearance nor your fine hospital to the emperor to become visible you further you're beautiful than before or made for your satisfaction in your impression, was become remember you also Tanamoshi of. Since it is the Arazarareru in the noble divinity, it cannot be so come remains to the original Chichitai leave of emotion. Since that day it was a tourist in one of the, you too weigh your heart, remain grief long after you have turned your eyes. Crown Princes also was supposed to be at the same time Gyoke was also Basa the sympathy of the hospital for another date Obo Shimeshi to be a very much in lovelier state more than your age to become ish adult. Come for a while prevail joy to be in your rendezvous with Yellowtail. Not to be deeply you can see in this case. To the front of the hospital in the innocently joyful was also pathetic became. Since the horizontal is the so come crying Nakamaya. The hospital of your mind is in many ways of your sad. It has become leaving you of variety in your lessons. But their loneliness from your heart so come suspect that whether this can be seen in the crown prince of the juvenile and the sadness that were being brewed. You tell me now that the unexpected must have knowledge on involved in the overload of politics in Genji. Begone repeated repeatedly that Keseo your assistants the Crown Prince. Crown Prince became your way from the night dandruff. Abundance of noble to being in attendance on the Kankai was something which is not as good as Miyuki. Gokokoro of the hospital of then became your way of Crown Prince of your Hizako was most you sad Queen Mother, but was also supposed to become on. That so come along to Nakamaya much ends in your complaint. The hospital within that was also Basa hesitation became demise. It mayor mourned. No matter how many people in farewell to the deep of your Genji you. Only you instead sported in your position of the hospital. Because politics is that all had been done exactly as you Oboshimeshi. Because now the emperor is still our young minister of maternal relative was not even in personality. The government in the person once in the day held. Officials is that it would be revealing is what the world is. Are you pessimistic? Hospital became come drowning in grief let alone as your most you love became Nakamaya and Genji. Such is your Buddhist memorial service after the demise among the many of your posthumous child who. Genji was the funeral how that a good faith conspicuous. It is. But there is a reason where many people who sympathize with filial devotion of Genji. Genji of mourning figures only be clean and appeared without also. About what is there to last year unhappy follow this year Genji heart is inclined to pessimistic. As well. But had been in I think also whether I will become a monk in this opportunity. It is realized Genji to have a variety of ties it was not it can be. Until Shurjakunichi is Nyogo and dressing we had been muffled in all council of imperial palace. But had to go back to another home to were scattered and the day has passed. This is that of October 20 days. Look at the color of the sky lonely this time of year everyone is time the world is Kokorobasoku. Whether not going to end with this? Nakamaya is to come at the most sad. Become familiar with the personality of the Queen Mother. In contemporary moving in the will of the people. To stay wrapped in your love of any painful than you Kokorobo so of that are unexpected must be subjected to the handling. Also there is no hospital in the future more of sadness to be made was in the past incognito was large. In addition to not be able to become a people and you live in the imperial palace of the hospital forever. It was also lonely the house of your mind that everyone unexpected must go back. Nakamaya is to become your way to Sanjo of the temple. Hyobu lord of the house of his brother Kun has come to pick up. Snow in the fierce wind is also the date on which dissipates mixed. Already when quiet is people lack and tend to become old imperial palaces cans. General of Genji had been a temple to talk in your Zaisei of the hospital to come to the palace of the Empress. 5 leaf in front of the garden to see that withered under leaves wilting in the snow. Wonder if Shadow Hiromi asked Shipinen of lower leaves scattered Yukatoshi ken to him cur. When the temple has become sing-tailings, it is not a masterpiece. Forthcoming relies of cry Genji. Genji overlooking the pond that had completely frozen. Saddle blind eye shadows she familiar to Sayaki of the mirror of the pond to freeze. And he said, this is also the while I thought those were 31 character. It is childish as the work of Genji. King Myobu. Year late in Iway of water also she saw ice and DJ I wonder if empty of heat rash go. The work of the other wife will be omitted. Such as that the being in attendance on the Nakamaya a large number of officials were but had not changed a bit with your Zaisei era of hospital. Oboshi Meshi as you mood of the house is lonely. Is a rather bamboo your parents' home. Which has become your way also by being. In recent years it is your parents' house if there is no excuse was little became bar press. Year spring of Rio and was lonely also changed. Genji lived holed up in the house deliberately lonely. Such as to a further term of office in January of officials. The gates of the reign of the hospital goes without saying. But then still the same as in article of the hospital as to was Wazuzuma in the horse and car of visitor. This year the number of such visitors has become less visible too. Bag containing the people of betting compounds, which come in the night watch, was also no longer seen much. Also saw the only close home Sakasa who is taking office in Carefree is a master Genji. It was not interesting and seems to be one in which fate and the people of the confidence of the forces of the self is proportional to. Udaijin House 6 of U became shoji in February, before the demise of the hospital, is because shoji became non-it minister who was to have been sponsored by increasing the best. Even good looks that come to its own Bishitsu even showed the presents that come out in the concubines. Queen Mother is often made to come to the parents' home. When it comes to rare palace visit became come to decide the palace of Umetsubo quarters. So here Oshiweidayan had become a cadet of shoji, such as Nobori Hana Hall next door was in the form of remains abandoned long, but now is used to as continued, became a gorgeous place, such as it is in countless samurai wife, while the flashy harem life, mind, not made people of shoji was wondering just the Genji. Genji did not constantly be as expected before to come send a letter in Shinobun, while fear and if there is it to get in a glance. In the habit of example, 6 of you has become even more prosperous shown of Genji from the time that went to the Seraglio hospital becomes the time to come. Oh, there is a refrain, but became come expect Fudo Shikasaki of vigorous temperament and is now on the Muki-rua. Long-standing grudge to Genji government is that it does not give the attention to the case of something against Genji. Unpleasant to see that it is getting increasingly more, even if there is that Genji was expecting, that was not experienced in the past, that become unbearable to taste all the time is. Dating the person was also not much. Sadaijin also unpleasant, did not appear even to much imperial palace. Became come in Fudo Shikasaki is included in that was that to the deceased daughter to wife talk. There was despite Genji of the crown prince. Relationship with Udaijin on top was not good from the beginning. Sadaijin is because somewhat tyranny manner also was the washi keep politics to Mayday. No pleasure for the Udaijin as the equivalent emperor of maternal relative is in good one is reasonable. Genji did not forget that all be the welfare of the wives of the late wife went to visit a well Sadaijin house unchanged on the day of the old days. Very people also that the love of Genji of the minister who the Wakagimi is not thrilled. Also more small Kimiko to do so was reluctant important. Kimi in the past of Genji was too happy to see the social, but was enough to feel dizzy as to watch. These days to the relationship from both circumstances both lovers had were also many were extinct. Through also in things like going to visit the lovers of the house of less light relationship. Because I was Genji feel the evil of the other rules. It had been the first time the idyllic home of the master and can afford. Everyone celebrated saying that it is the happiness of Hyobu, lord of the temple of the princess. Among the heart, such as Shanagan, Nun-kun of the grandmothers got this result had been thought that would be the Nesse prayed that the princess through the Buddha, father of prince became Kumbi out of the cheerful 2 article of the hospital. And without much luck to the princess how to become a cherished once to come born from his wife. Just in terms of look and woman who suffered a fate that one person was excellent. Stepmother Fall's wife was feeling jealous. Purple wife had actually obtained a kind of good luck of stepdaughter in the novel. Saiyan of Kamo is then has been retired for the mourning of Chichitai. Princess of the House of the Morning Glory of Shikibu Sir instead is supposed to be mature. Joining the job. Even if there is that the queen to eyes was go become Saiku. Or is Saiyan of Kamo most. But those of the princess was made of the Atsutome. Temple-like equivalent to the Nyogo belly does not become come on. This Bokuho is there was a. Genji is now also but it is to have a love in this queen. I thought sorry that it has become usual to sacred job is also impossible marriage. Since the wife of Lieutenant General served the use of now maybe Genji, etc. letter ice are doing all the time. To not think anything is like its own misfortune in contemporary. Genji had Tanai in love, for the sake of Seian and Shoji. Although Emperor became come love Genji as of your last will and testament of the hospital. On your young, your very inarazurari in those with weak noticed. It is also possible to do sports to be done by the will of the minister of the Queen Mother and grandfather not to be. Is the unsatisfied there were many to adjust can have in the circumstances there is no more freedom of love than the old days. Shoji was not also a constantly there is no happiness have a Genji. Whisper loved by the statement. When I emperor for 5 dan of your dual cultivation that has been allowed to proceed in court is to come by for your curfew. Genji approached to Shoji like a dream. Then you led the fine temple to the chamber of Chuniga and old Hiroshi Waidian. When a lot of people in and out to the imperial palace for your dual cultivation. Such a meeting, you were horribly thought of Chunigan to be done with their own hands. Joy of Shoji got to see rare and Genji. Not red look to see in the morning and evening is envisioned. Woman still looked the appearance of youth servings. Such as the lady seems to tangent of the unexpected it may have been missing. But beautiful, with gloss, there was enough to attract the power of the man of the mind youthful. When I think that it would be going to another with night dawn. Immediately in the garden below, we will the night watch. When the Okino said in a high voice, I know that of the mid-major general someone is sleeping to come to the station of the wife of this neighborhood. Genjian must have tourist to bother to say hello to tell the nasty man was listening. The around with this saying in some places of the imperial palace of the garden are those nice feeling. But there was also loud. Also walking reported that one tiger. The morning 4 o'clock. In was such this your garden. It is attached to the voice shake be open and Professor wonder if sincerely wet the people's sleeves. How the say of Shoji was really fragility likely. Well outtan my world is eachin without any time to evil of over habit with her chest nuclear. Genji went out and parted not he calmly. In distant on moonlit night in the still morning. Genji fog walk with a simple Karajinu appearance through that her falling to one side was beautiful. Head Lieutenant General is the brother of Nyogo of Yukatamawako Hall at this time. Came out of the palace of Fujitsubo. That had been standing in front of Tatsushitomi that is a moonlight shadow. Without knowing the Genji unfortunately it was. Because the voice of the blame will come happening from the mouth of the people. Genji also by the relationship that was able to create also knew in Shoji. Even while acknowledging the Nakamaya as not to show you a chance at all to be your fine. Was often also think sadly Urameshiku in love heart. It was also Genji reluctant to palace visit to the imperial palace. But I thought lonely that no omanakakara to the crown prince for that. There is no other patron for the crown prince. Just but only the empress became to come in the power of Genji. Genji was sometimes things like to be your embarrass the temple even in the now. Also that the hospital has become your collapse without you know even the secret piece of chopsticks to the end. To the temple became come feel that is a horrible crime. Is a fresh also supposed to be the stand of notoriety. Yourself as will somehow always great misfortune occurs for the crown prince. The temple has become a worry. And try to stop the love of Genji in the French force. Genji of doing things as much as possible to secretly also is to prayer although so come home to themselves from Joan. Sometimes unexpectedly Genji is close to your bed. The temple like from the which was to have been carefully planned was like a dream. Genji was a beautiful word with a can falsify unexpected Mikoto was trying to move for your heart. But the house did not become to lose your last calm. Finally became your suffering been going on pain of your chest to a variety of take care of. Surprised wife or partakers Myobu Toka Toka valve secret. Genji on the temple should not be your meshiku. The world had remained as it is your bedroom even if in the morning as a stunned maid to feel went black. is also that the wife around your book stand to tell, listening to your illness to come and go frequently. Genji had been pushed into the unconscious Narikago indoor collection. Wife that brought gently and jacket of Genji was also wanted break. Mia is made to remember you a frenzied to too much sported your pessimism for the future in the present. Your body, even if the next morning was not a normal manner. Such as Brother Kun of Hyobu, Lord of the Temple Token Nakamaya Deyu is Sandan, that it is said that such would Mukai-yo, the prayer of the monk Genji, has had heard painful day finally Goemai now where Fu had subsided by the time the sun set. Genji as Nakamaya like also lived your day with a coding cage was not no. Such as Myobu and valves as also did not said by me in order to my as a worry. Mia became come sit out the day of the throne. Your saying seems that became Kaifuku. Become the lord of the temple is also your way a Hyobu. The number of your living room is low. Since we're not many people to become very intimate you're from hero. Only those people had been samurai such as the shadow behind and Fusumako of their here Kicho, etc. Myobu. Let's attribute it you out if devised gently generals in. Also because would sports be you to be or sick tonight and so come to buckwheat. Mia-sama is feel sorry. It had whispered and the like. Genji is multiplied by the hand to the place that had been open to the details from the beginning. The door of Narikago came out from the open softly, along the between the folding screen and the wall to your local temple. Genji, your profile you know of no temple in the joy that can be seen well from the shade eyes are flowing tears excited about. Still I wonder if I am not painful. Die. Profile to become looking at more of the outside to say both are very shiny. I think this only to eat in. There are sweets wives as brought pedestal. Its addition to the air stacked those that have been cooked feeling well. Such as in a box of the lid is also. The temple has noticed them by Fu. Such as not. The Sokum quietly looked at each Isho to the musings of many state was your beautiful hair of quality, head of form, beauty. Such as hair takes Sai was just like a princess of the pair of the West similar recently and it was in not Kansas early Genji. I think is a two-woman much like to be surprised as a fresh. Feel the painful katakoi spirit place that he seems to have a little bit. Koga places also not think that someone else. But the first love of the house seemed to that excellent or no thought one step. Be let loose the feel brilliant thought to be your figure was better in the old days Genji was forgetting also before and after. Quietly go quietly along to the book table. Drawn by hand Toivo Meshimono the temple. Genji of clothes of incense and senses quickly standing. The house became our understanding the situation. Mia in surprise and fear as became as it fell down to the front. And what not can be at least Mackay. Genji also think less than tired. Yurameshiku even if you think. Tried to Hikyoseo have to hand your hem. Mia is stopped the jacket in the hands of Genji. Is himself was to become a retreat you toward the outside. Your hair of the temple had been holding a man's hand with Omeshimono. Mia were become think you that it is the fermentation of your own sad. But looked very itawashi your appearance. Genji also forget everyone such as the high status of today. But the soul is also the Nikinaki say the resentment to Fu was ladybug. The temple is not also baso also your mortification likely you prefer Stonehenge from the bottom of my heart. However, I am because I not very good now as the body. I will try to detail talk about when there is a chance not at a time like this. Though it is only now you say that. Then more of Genji had spent many words to tell the painful thought. It must also have been mixed to become a thinker and died in the only truly. Although it is not earlier not to was. Once again it is oboshi meshi to the temple and is that unbearable overlapping the sin. Soft. Old seal is not lost. So come yet approaching the Genji strongly avoided. But such Fu is going to be open tonight. Because it was of those who provided the shinobi no pure nobility to make to win in force on this. Genji. I am satisfied with this alone. I make excuse to at least close enough to tonight, if you please, and sometimes in the future hear my heart. I do not think to try it more of disrespect. Tried to not press the off guard this way, said, for the case in the future, not be such a serious relationship, because the lovers to make a dangerous tryst that ruishi to this is what is painful farewell. Above all, Genji here is hard to leave. Night because had drilled and Ome women in the vow vast to say the variety to leave of Genji. Me like is the so come so dead middle, because I do not want to think or with your shameless man is still alive. I will die any more of them. And then also the soul of the dead is punished by having an obsession in this world. Genji terrifying feeling that had become seriously. Hang well out ba naho akuyo or the ten not only the kataki of that fu briefed today. I also made this what will become of me are you haunting you. Palace made a month you sigh. Ian is unknown and doers of the mind, leaving the long time the world of resentment in people. It became your seon. The grace of your manner in which you so come in the words of Genji and is deliberately received. Lightly Genji while being attracted by the mind control of the temple, to be painful subject to contempt. That should be its own weight in my order I have returned. Myself were treated ruthless as any. Do not want to show face in you on the other that way. Until the sympathy in your feeling expect Genji that only has a silence. I had not written a letter since then to the temple. Much they have hold up in the not out also to the crown prince also to the other imperial palace. While resentment just as also it is also cold your mind day and night. Was recruited to longing to betray their own now attitude. Soul also seems to go somewhere. Was can seemed took even sick. Kokoro basoku increasingly sadness because not throw a humane life is for many. Myself, etc. If it should become people of the vihara. Was it the young wife always seems to when attempting to this kind of decision. Is trying to abandoned his wife to gently alive and to ask myself only was not appear. Mia of your mind is also was very upset. Genji is such myobu by not come even send a letter muffled cut argument at that time was feel sorry. To the temple also for the crown prince must keep in to have a favor to the Genji. Was pessimistic the life from his attitude and to obo shimeshi truly the unexpected must not. Supposed to be Shimawa become a monk. Is all the time there is that UFO saying, so is imagine our favorite public to locate flaws. Make any rumor, they become an and let dismissed from the position of the later a reluctant discomfort to the Empress Dowager. The temple is doing in these days has become to be in your thoughts. Hospital is every what and consider what has been also bossa just how heavy your wills for myself it seems that it is not running in the contemporary, if not up to that early consort chi of the Han, such as those tormented by Lu later. And must be sure there will the people not must bear the ridicule of the world Nakamaya has become I think. Although this to enter the life of a nun in the turning point from which you consider to be a good thing most can alter the appearance remains not see you to the crown prince is made to think you to be the thing you're poor. It was to enter your to the imperial palace in conspicuous unexpected format. Genji was Narawashi that represents a more than enough favor even if not at such time. But did not even being in attendance on by taxi to the disease. Gives other does not always change. But when no difference in that you do not try to koyo is so come well pessimistic. People who know the situation was sympathy. Crown Prince became come to your growing beautifully in a while. After a long time Hahamaya and become addicted to pleasure you have finished met with. It is very of your cute to be or become look spoiled. Whether the question occurs in yourself is or in the life of faith away from this man. Moreover, the air in the imperial palace showed significantly the change of human nature due to the transition of when life was not placed. Is not teach you to be of impermanence. It was also cumbersome to be a come on fire in revenge of Fudo Shikasaki. And painful as unexpected also bear that of Kampen to give an unpleasant feeling in and out of the court, that he is in a current position. was rather of sports agony as well as such are not intended to compromise the crown prince. While not Omanakakara long, if my face has gone completely changed, what happens to you think? And if Nakamaya, as you say, staring crown prince from staring at your face, is a Shikibu, there is no such a thing. And it became a comedy. You're childish of no news is in your poor. No, I Shikibu is the ugly because it is old. Is not the case. Hair something shorter than Shikibu. Wearing such as black kimono. The like of night stay your bow like I think I would so. I do not meet you much longer than such as now. Quote, when the temple is our cry, crown prince is made to be you in a straight face. If you do not Irashara to long imperial palace, I wish not to want to see you. And you say after you have become, the tears spilling, became turned away your face is to think you ashamed. Your hair to be wavering and your shoulder is clean. Such is that beautiful your eyes. It's nothing but the face of Genji does not appear more and could one also hear in accordance with the sports your growth. Beauty that is your teeth will show you a smile in your mouth to look at the black addition with a little decay is the more you try to face the woman. If it is defect only of the ball to become similar to Genji to this, also become think our Nakamaya. It is because so come to fear the world and sin hard to irreversible. Genji is also thinking Miss Nakamaya had been holed up in a bother to tow you reflect on whether no matter how ruthless is your own. I missed the more ugly the more there is long as this. In an attempt to arousal this feeling, incidentally looked even autumn of Hanano went to Uji to the temple. Go to the temple there are disciplined brother Kun of Miyasunda Koro of mother Mr. Tongue Pot of Genji. Read through. Trying to be served Buddha. 2. It was often the shim to wear while you are muffled 3 days. Grove is beginning to autumn leaves. And turn now try to go is looking at the pitiful field of Akikusa of flowers had just forget also. House. Learned priest was or heard by a discussion to choose only. Location is just impermanence of life only in the place it seemed. But still Genji in which were found myself being attracted the most heart to the reproachful people. Under the moonlight close in the morning. Monks to the shitaku that provided with the ija to the Buddha. While the karakara to sound. Are scattered folding the toka chrysanthemum autumn leaves on the side full. Is such a thing. But there is the little things. To the monk would not even while you feel bored if there is such a work. Envy and I think the halves hope to the future of the world. His is not have been able to have the one person myself such as the Genji or was wondering. Disciplined is envious that has a deed by chanting Buddha beings and take not discard in precious voice. This world is the queen of purple together and I think that would not reason not to be abandoned. To their own has become concerned because it is not without also a big duison. Genji that things like that live for several days in the outside did not experience so far sent. Written many times a letter to the loving wife. Priest I have tried and if you can. But lonely temple of life. Just Sunaru as Kokorobo so of. Although the residents because it may get to tell from Hoshia stay a little longer. Do you do too? Frills that also is written without was beautiful in such a danchi. 4 sides of the storm each shazu heart without the indwelling of the dew of a saji fu to place the you. I cried read the purple wife because were those loving information. Which is also a song called the answer to the white paper formula. Sasagani that it blows wind spring previous uzo turbulent maru or color asagi is applied to the dew. Only it had been written with character seems to become more and more often. Saying to herself and had watched with a smile. The two people who are each other all the time to write a letter in songs. It becomes to what character of Mrs. similar to all Genji. Had been along it at a little feminine gloss then. It also says from any point is of Genji is thought to be successful in education. The Kamo to be had of Seiya sent a letter because was close to here. To the wife of Lieutenant General addressed. Pensive as recruited. Finally left the house. Also has stayed in a place like this. Everyone will be free of whether it is for anyone. Grudge had been said and the like. The question Saiyan. Wonder if loose cotton sash ho shushi also all but sono kami maku over. It is that not even the way I was wondering if you want to the old days to now. As those that can be irreversible in his will. And Narinarashiku wrote shallow green of the letter was a. It was sent to put the branches where divinely put cotton in Sakari. Reply of Lieutenant General. It followed just the same as a day there then try to remember that good old from boredom. But by thank a lot also be Lenovo you like. But here there then do not come then is nothing to the current. Because is another world from. Yet it had been written in various ways. Into pieces of cotton is the queen. Ran you to endure over the thurishi cotton to Tsukishin is sono kami and how. It was written only with. There is no fine taste your letter of Saiyan. But seems to have been become more skillful than before. Such as break the way of Chinese characters in Koga. Let alone if that person's own beauty would be that no matter how grown. Had resound the chest with such of imagination. So I do not think the plague. Genji is also remembered as the farewell of the house of the last year of the field was at this time. Nothing to prevent their own love. I thought also to be a god who. It do not know themselves the habit of growing passion about difficult situation as if they're between. Although marriage of it is in a when the queen of Kamo wished as was no also be difficult. At that time is not in the carefree. It icer too late infinitely shed regret of tears. The say in those that are not letter. Which is also written in the usual amorous. So far there is no may how much received so come by. Occasionally even answer letters from your mind that a good understanding of the Genji is become. Right, speaking strictly, is to come with a sacred job. It should say also that there is a little house arrest not enough. Read the scriptures 60 volumes of Tendai. Genji esoteric place of meaning by. For example, listen to the monks that has remained in the temple. By the good works of the monks as this person in the French force was sent to the temple I like things, and as the honor of the priest, was even willing to lower class of fellows. But as flip watch life in morning and evening of quiet temple is not may or seem to. No matter how unpleasant it is possible to change. Become queen one person is hard to ties discarded purple. And go home without staying long Genji. Was subjected to a thriving reading the sutras in front. Monk of some only of course. Was subjected to many things underlying people of the neighborhood. When the go back, gathered those people there to hear of the square of Taranome. It was put off in tears. Genji of morning figure riding a black car in the Rio and is not even necessarily look better than hero, but did not have people who are not attracted by the mind to the beauty. Mrs. appeared to become more beautiful in one of her several days. In that calm in Koga, the look of the statewide anxiety the love of Genji was Karen. Some of the agony that I think the several people or people go out. This person would be the noticeable enough that there is not of been calling a song such as Color Change Spring and Pathetic thought it. Genji felt a strong love than normal to his wife. Since the autumn colors came back to fold from the mountain was a beautiful crimson excellent as compared to the garden. It, long by or not write a letter anything. Also feels unbearable loneliness Genji. Not just anything as a gift. I was doing to have to the place of Nakamaya to become to Imperial Palace. The letter was wrote to Myobu. And we heard that it has now entered you to unusual Imperial Palace. So we have long silence also to any Ryomi alike, that I wanted to try up even when, but sometime trying to religious study and had Omoida from its previous. We rude because the thing that has been decided, such as the day up, autumnal leaves as I watched by myself, I'll have to have because you will be willing to keep to the dark Nishiki. Please take your eye of the temple like to one opportunity, then say that, because was in fact rare enough to beautiful autumn colors, but became come look even willing Nakamaya. Letter that connects small in its branches was on one. When my wife we found out it, the temple is also changed the color of your face. not yet discarded that mind, while having a deep fine personality of compassion. Contradiction to sudden these things is in that person. It is to remember you the difference is not an antipathy to wives also caused suspicious, while inserted in the bottle, became zit out to the pillar between the eaves place, that the only, to be trust also basa in such things about go away of the crown prince. The Nakamaya to become a Taurus you politely told to hide the emotion. Genji had a grudge against and made to show only your lithium is also far. Care of the crown prince is not as entirely Genji. It thought that it would people want suspiciously as Mai's in the Fukalis only this time. Genji when on the day Nakamaya is out of your imperial palace. It first was heard toward the emperor. Emperor just your leisure. Old story of Genji to the other party. Was variously also basa now of the story. Your appearance of the emperor turned to come similar to the hospital. It to gloss molecule is somewhat added. Is the Mishimas in the way that was full of nostalgia mi and softness. Emperor is also in the same way as Genji. Was to remember you that the hospital by Genji. It relationship with Shoji had entered to be emperor of your ear that you have not yet extinct. But was not of it does not become noticed by yourself. It does not also be helped. Not the first time made up the relationship now. My better of the early Genji than know of is to Obo Shimeshi because it was a lover of the people. Because it is most suitable for two people to make love. It is to come forgive and also in your mind unavoidable. Well and the like Togemeo the Genji. Is not also a little Obo Shimeshi. Or sported a question to Genji in the poetry. Also in out to or past the story of wind flow song. The day of the formula downward of Saiku. Emperor well as it was a beautiful man sported a hot topic. Genji also become a congenial mood. Was all talk well as that dead body of the farewell of the temple of the dawn of the field. 20 days a month is finally shine out of. Around the time the night of the flavor has become interesting. Emperor. Music's night as I want to hear. It was so. I will continue to go to your visit because it is so Nakamaya tonight is leaving. And had heard his last will and testament of the hospital. Because nobody there are those who do not some people to take care in addition. Have given kindly you. Crown Prince and us I do not oki to throw away. You're also from the relationship between. And Genji was Sojo. Hospital guest because I nasu. Seth and to love thought the Crown Prince and his son. But his is wondering important than any brother. I think even to stand in the eye. And to conservative yourself. Crown Prince are the other characters. Such as also to write your to admirable. All of it is mediocre. His disgrace is that people ask what is to recovery. Quote, it is you like a lot of things like an adult. Because it is still your young age even if I say what. Genji is that the queen mother brother and is Fuji Dainagan of the son of the head of the velvet. The time of going to exit the after the sojo about things such as your study of the crown prince. The young man who is in good of cum. Or of Nyogo of sister I saw the Genji on the way to Legion Hall. The Hakuko date Suranukari. Crown Prince Jujitari when that the Crown Prince Dan of Sweet Potato shot the assassin to Chin Wang. That was afraid of unsuccessful look at the astronomical phenomena I gently humming and abutting the verse. Genji was gone as it is without I thought badly need to blame determined by the ignorant foo. Just got off to the site until now, and it was now faith that up to here. And Genji was the greeting to Nakamaya. The imperial palace garden became a bright moonlit night. Nakamaya is made to come looking it. The time the hospital has become come to your place. To the delight you yourself become so pressed the play of the music is in such as these evening. Became possible. Such as the old memories are floating in your mind. Here was Gataka, to Obo Shimeshi even as some in the same imperial palace. Wonder if Almajo the month of fog and septum vines above the clouds in Kuju. This became to tell from Myobu to Genji. If well as Omeshimono sound of movement of the temple heard. But there is a faint. Genji fell at his first tears forget your Omeshi of. Wonder if moon is also painful in the autumn to change hara ne etc. Interval vine fog of the world she seen. Kasumi as there seems there was also the human mind appears toka old song also in action that separates the flower. Quote, such as the Genji said, Nakamaya at the time of the sad farewell. But it is the sports and let's tell me to various crown prince that in the future became deeper thought seems pathetic you do not have entered your mind. Hero has become faster your nemi. But seems to be obo shimeshi and no matter stay up sports you leave the house. While it becomes it going the mother temple. Leaving himself is like irreproachful. Is not also baso also will indeed force the hikitomeo was not the difference in a pathetic in your parental love. Genji is horribly also the old days of secret. Not may people think the words of the valve head had not written a long time letter to Shoji. When it drizzle began to fall from more of whether or not I thought Shoji also carry in the warp around the time of Obo Sukana of between Shuate well attached to the blows of the cold wintry wind. She sent me a song like this. Just to the which was from the cage the shim to the only thing. No matter how to the letter to avoid the public eye seemed pleased the information of the lover. Even imagine what was written. Not waiting for the use in order to reply. Or singled out the paper open entered was placed at the door of the shelf of Karakami did not appear even in the eyes of the wives in the reply Genji to or care about the pen is writing is just that. Opponent had said in an elbow and eyes would much anyone. Because no matter how painful there is no reply even if I would like to heart my heart to know the paddle we were crowded Miri completely. Viewed as Yanabe of the fall of sugar also tears of around Shinoburu by without seeing Ahi. If it did what the mind is attending. If did but also through come. Will not be visible only from the sky lonely color. A character that is with such a passion was read soon. Although something like this come from the other woman is a letter to be Sasuida so the Genji from more of remains to write a reply with information. Deeply had seemed those that do not want in the mind of Genji. Nakamaya became come to a lot of preparation in it should be held the fermentation of the Lotus Sutra followed to become his 1 anniversary in your life of the hospital. It snowed heavily on your anniversary of the beginning of November. Song from Genji to Nakamaya has been sent. Time and does asked brief Fuhodo go to the people she viewed domo come today to farewell. For Nakamaya also in your sad day, there's an immediate reply. Furu is today to rev go but sorrow and comfortable fu encounter in the world while not even trying to skillfully write character would be without the thought of Genji also look to those noble rich in elegance. Not because flashy character a distinctive but it's not far from mediocre. Today only love Genji to the Buddha worked in the snow for even forget all day father of the hospital is the lived. There's your fermentation of Nakamaya to 10 several days of December. It was very Takashi Gen a Buddhist memorial service. After that the newly dedicated to before the Buddha on any day during the 5 days. The only thing of silk of the cover of the luo to the axis of the jewels. Such as the outer package decoration was also extremely elaborate. Since it is those who do not to forget the beautiful tastes to everyday goods. It is that most is that much less has been also basa for Buddha were those of the more surprised the public eye. Buddha decoration was able to easily imagine paradise world to Kabisa, such as covered the Hanatsukue. Control of Chichitai of Nakamaya the beginning of the day, for Bodhi. For the Queen Mother the next day. The third day is for the purpose of your Bodhi hospital. This is a day in the lecture of the 5th volume of the Lotus Sutra because there was officials were also ladies many not have been a consideration to the people of the current court faction. Be brought into particularly impressed from the time you could cast a song called Tokushi each. Have to draw specifications Lotus Sutra is how to give she firewood stiffness not sumami water. Have especially precious monk is chosen to lecturer of today were many. became come also have a variety of tribute towards Prince and before the Buddha. But the appearance of Genji looked most graceful. The author but seems to always repeat the same words. Is that there is no way since it is the person who is Kan's new beauty every time I see. The final day has become a memorial to be swear-bond Buddha as Nakamaya himself. It has been reported that if your priest is to before the Buddha in place of this ritual. Nobody surprisingly sensitive it was struck in. Hyobu, Lord of the Temple of your mind, was panic heart of General of Genji. I do not think even tried what words to say the current eagle the degree of surprise. Mia became enter your Terenchu become the seat to Otashi in the middle of a formula. Nakamaya has become a revelation the hard your decision to Anamiya. Turned invitation to sit in the Hiezan. It was so that the Jukai. Voice of the people of the crying was buried my temple when the Bishop of Fall's uncle Mr. Yokogawa. Is you cut your hair wreck in the book. It is sad thing to look at to finally ordained even mediocre old man. Because much less is what of the notice was also made to quickly run of the footwear without asabasa. Hyobu, Lord of the Temple also became very your sorrow. And your position of Nakamaya also people who have attended not cans of compassion. Who is often cry and worship the place of this lonely ending. Prince towards the hospital is. Chichitai is how your what was I show you after that was made. Is considered compared to feel sorry of the status quo became come as everyone disappointed. People are your of consolation, but it had been made a greeting. Genji is the last remaining. But also feel that words were also lost heart in the surprise and grief. A glance is considered. Your so is to finally bring out the mind living room to went. Restless as in that people were wandering around without. Sobbing voice also the time being stopped by. My wife had clustered to you Kanata while wipe the tears. Their bright moon in the sky. Also looking at the garden that are each other shine in snow of light. From that of yours I say in the hospital is the feel unbearable to come to mind in the eyes Genji. Is suppressed. What is now your motive? Do you sported so sudden your priest? The greeting I got at Toratsui. This is but I did not at that right now conceived was. When there was a sadness of last year. Is we decided immediately Soda will also be alarmist. So also I was wondering is by. For example. Distraught even myself. Example is the Myobu who have told your words of. Genji sad to imagine any situation in the bamboo blind. From. Such as by a woman of the clothing of many. It was to see that or holding the sadness while writhing. The winds blew violently. It's also incense calm black side incense smoke of Nakao of before the Buddha smell in mistakes. Calm leak to faint. Clothes of incense of Genji was also the night that paradise is likely a mixed it. Your crown prince also came. By such words became in front of the farewell to say you of crown prince comes revived or new to. Your mind of the temple. Also disturbed you feel that you played with would be calm. To completely give us the greetings of your reply since not. Genji is supplemented with your words. Because nobody who is also from the cage. Which disturbs the mind a grief is may be said to have lost common sense. Inadvertently think Genji and is not issued. Such as words that could be suggesting a secret it was. In the darkness of this world also non it was over the Kumoi living the moon Naho and Huo Soter. To me it seems so, but Atasa admire in your mood became possible you of your priest. Just say that he could tell the heartbreaking mood of the man Genji abandoned because was wives. Often stayed in your living room in the simple words. I am attached to the majority of the float transgression the world someday domo to hate the one. Should. Venerable faith when I wonder you get used to it. Quote. Greetings of the temple gave color your mind which also serves as a reply to the crown prince. Genji was leaving not bear the sorrow. Without going is to the west of Thailand back to the article of the hospital. One person in more of their own living room, but there is no reason that can sleep was Fushi. To come happening of the heart that will become more and more life is sad thing is in itself monk. is to do so was also recalled to the crown prince as your poor, at the very least. But the mother temple only, and if you put in the best position hospital war of the Oboshimeshi, was supposed to become the status also abandoned you for painful compression of the person not having favor. It is made to be you to none will not even be you to become except your treatment as after. Genji think when it's over until he must not be supposed to be not accustomed to you the power of the crown prince then it is. Finally Genji all night thought out this thing is thought that unexpected must be a good deed to give to make your furniture, your clothes for the nuns for Nakamaya. Hurried went furnished all things by the end of the year. King Myobu is also became a nun with the attendant. Genji also to this man gave the memorabilia for the nun, because not be able to find poetry in case such. I regret that the such as the song of the wife of the house is not be found with detailed articles of the time. Genji also will be able to comfortably be your visit. Kyute have 3 articles. Also towards the temple began to sometimes sports talk in your own love of Genji, which continued to think from the boy of the day did not is eliminated by your priest. But as Genji be your approach more in, it was not the thing to consider today. It was in the spring. Toka inner banquet in the imperial palace is just that glamorous followed Toka Tokana has been performed Nakamaya become come feel only sorrow of life, and so come hard at posterity Buddha worked for. Naturally also reliable force it felt was also basa that bestowed was while there. There's your pleasure also that was Ida bin from Jokma of Genji. In addition to the chambers of the Nenzu that Tanari, in your living room, was also basa the also strict served seems nuns there be in a place that has been newly architecture. Mido has a little away from the front of the pair of the west Genji was waiting upon. Even in the new year visitors are rare. Only several people of officials attached you are to the lonely dressed had taken office in Fu without power, because was a section meeting of Hikuba. This much is coming drawn also to this house. It is the wife who was sightseeing, that officials such as had been waiting upon without having several people turn to the other historical facts. Those people to pass through the Kyute, even going to gather to the current Daijin house of the opposite. Of course speaking for granted but it has become a feeling similar to the loneliness in the house also you remember. When Genji has become to see the came all the way to the congratulatory palace visit in appearance, such as corresponds to the thousands of officials to such a place is divided without any palace. Sported Rakurui. Genji also looking at around the Fushim somehow to where it cannot be said that for a while things become a pure non-mister of your residence. The edges of the color of mistakes Kicho was also dark gray. Also wives of pale dark gray clothes look from between such things. But was such as the cuffs of a yellow underraid, did not also be rather not look elegant in gloss. Also thin ice of melt to have a pond. Only natural spring also dyed willow issued a bud is visible. Was variously tragic the heart of Genji. State of Genji that hum the old song called Kato that pine to hear the sound is in ube heart see. Each Hiroshima today carry live was beautiful. Sight to see and Mokato of abode Madzushi firefly pine Hiroshima. And Genji said, is now made to come to hand over a large part of the parlor to the Buddha. Your living room because I was your residence that was changed towards the end. It is remembered proximity of the seat of the throne in the Genji-owned temple. There Shikana out Mezurashi of the standing by Wavo J defunct to Urashima remnants of the world. Even your voice to be a teach you to intercession of the wife was here faint. Tears of Genji is spilled to by ones and twos. Now embarrassed that be seen this wife who has become a nun who fully understanding the life. Long Genji was leaving in Izu. Consisting look you more and more you find. By the time that the ARC newsletter, and all the happiness in the things of his own. Just only a first person of the world. Not only it did not yet know your life, Gorp of nor your beautiful even. For it was a place where you started to lack the correct meaning. is to become your not only your happiness. I now can you have depth, but is that your pitiful quote? Wife was old and so had praised crying. Nakamaya also became come think the vestiges of the past of Genji of several cases in your mind. At the time of removal eyes of officials of the spring also. Government people, not must be obtained naturally that is in with this house also not be obtained. Shoujo of the hierarchy of those who were asobasa recommendation in the right that is granted to the temple also Sudioka intact. Were many people who mourn the unfortunate. Is your place of after by now become your in undisappeared with it to interpret the legal text paper seal should also be eliminated. Your treatment of government has come changed with it the excuse. Palace that has become come in anticipation. What obsession is also did not become come with respect to it. Such as when a view of the Fusad to have lost the news office and you're with the officials is of somewhat to your heart there was no that does not upset your impression. Moreover yourself and should pray so as not to cause trouble in your accession to the throne of Crown Prince also become a sacrifice. The temple is made in your thoughts even when what was asobasa the Buddha worked to dedication. There is anxiety and fear. Not make people in your heart. By the faith of his own. Became come for the sake of it does not reach to the Crown Prince of the crime. Then it came to come and comforted himself. Genji even if you know your mood of this house was felt to be your most on the other hand. It was also unhappy if you look at the result of dividing eyes officials belonging to Genji as Iyatsukasa's. Disgraceful that field Genji had been holed up just to the house. Sadaijin also worshipped the table as a public figure. Also was pessimistic today you've left the happiness as individuals Chishi. Emperor Hospital is very sported your credit. The state of indalicite is when you oboshi meshi that sported your wills to be him. And not be able to become your adopted his resignation. But became a frequent return. The minister better it is also over and over again. And Sojo his resignation. And was not as it is because was not to the attendance. Flourished to only clan Daijo Daijin is. Since the minister as the leader of the nation had hold up. To the emperor also be Koko Robosoku Oboshimeshi. Had 10 also public people. Sadaijin House Kimiko as even in fine young officials. There was a while up all duly even rank. Had gone the other that era. Such as third place lieutenant general was also allowed mailer attention to this world. Lost 10 to attend to the place of the forewoman of Daijo Daijin is through. But have no antipathy to the fact that a son-in-law there is no good faith. Also this person is to the upcoming Jimokuso on Omoishur Genkun it was placed in the left. This man did not put such a thing in the eye. Because of even your Genji is an era where there's a misfortune of tan care. Let alone their own. Such as us not give up and should be the way Toriatsu Kawaru. Come all the time to the place of Genji. Academic also is also together play. Recall that there was a strong competitive spirit between two people of the youth. Such as when the play events even now. On the other hand of making the things like that put the one force trying to get out to more mom. There were, or open the meeting, which was related to various and religion other than the meeting of the chanting of spring and autumn, or mega poem attracted doctor and scholars that have not been put in the modern, or by the rhyme futagi. Leisure the duties of officials a life that was retirement in that it has been this to people. It seems there are also people who are trying to make it to the problem. Nobody is around to feel the surezure falling without even summer rain when ceased. Third place Lieutenant General came to play to 2 articles of the hospital with a variety of poetry. Genji also in the library of the house. Came out culling the rare collection of poems from the book of the shelf that do not use Yirao. Without the prominently poets. Yet divided the people on the left and right called many te. Was gonna a game in ambiguity fu rhyme out a good bet products. While going to fit the hidden rhyming word. Came out difficult character is a lot. In the case of the many doctor troubled face. Such is the experience. It is sometimes the Genji is true often give attention. It was extremely knowledgeable. Why it would become can you so everything. Not still must be a person of the previous generation of the factors to be special. Scholars had been praised and the like. Finally towards the right is negative. Third place Lieutenant General was the slowing losing then after about 2 days. Not in very much out Cyprus Yabuko lunch with elegance. It was to bring many bets product out to win the way. Made a poem on the occasion everyone is also bunchy be many invitation today. Kaimi of roses there was a more than a rich spring and autumn color in the longer of the early summer of garden that was about to little bloom. Was fun meeting a lot of natural mood. 8 out of the year in the Lieutenant General of the child to the auto of the Imperial Palace. The child or blow the whistle of interesting show in the 9-year-old boy Genji had lovingly. This is the second son gave birth Kimi fourth. Have a good background was a child that has been cherished treated from the public face if there is a year-old is also beautiful. Host and guest is this child by the time held a drunk out singing the Takasago. Very adorable. Stand in a know of Takasago Shirata Matsubaki. It also is a Mishimigato. So and so what we are brief this morning bloom upcoming Hitsuka. Which is the lyrics that Genji gave take off a piece of clothing. Genji of Fu was informal then Hiro was also beautiful in a deliberately. Since the repair was also a single clothing also thin wearing. Looked colors of beautiful skin toy. OL wise men had tears in beauty of Genji and watched from a distance. Made at the end of the song of Takasago called Encounter of Sayuri leaves what we are. Lieutenant General advised the cup to Genji. View each of the Hakoi to the kun. It also is no less in the door this morning to open the upcoming Hitsuka. It said the remarks of Toast Genji took the cup with a smile. Time if in bloom this morning flowers she kicked in wilting in the summer of rain Niifu soon. Though had completely diminished. Quote, after that had been correct the sake do not try to drink the Genji and the Fu had already drunk me. Not Lieutenant General forgive, although the number of poetry were often made on the occasion. Should not write here since it is the Tsurani has also warned that it is a waste of that you. Read soon a lot of work of attitude is not a serious of time like. The song also poetry also you of Genji were many things that you praise. Genji himself is a good feeling. A passage in the circumferential public den of Shiji as child Takeshi king of the younger brother of when it was in the mouth. Although the sentence is a continuation is because uncle of King Cheng of Zhou. This should Genji not be said clearly. Hyobu becomes circum the temple to be all the time article of the hospital. Because we're people with a hobby in music. Was good to be such a play together. Shoji to the hour and minute has exited from the Imperial Palace to Jitai. Since it took from the front to occur disease. Also therapy that cannot be in the court. Such as kinin was as attempting at home. Family that you have complete recovery of shoji of the disease also as such as dual cultivation was. Pleased everyone. Is such a time. In accordance with a certain in lovers is shown by the inaccessible opportunity. Every night to take unreasonable way Genji went to see you. A little thin face after a young prime people with gorgeous appearance of the disease was very beautiful. Queen Mother is also is of such horrible things because there was the time to become a come live in the same residence. Genji that the love is as interesting as there as if the thing is was supposed to overlap a lot of night to go Shinobun. I would have had some people notice is made up so much. But did not anyone is trying to appeal to Fudo Shikasaki. The minister also did not know of course. Rain has suddenly become oversized. In the dawn thunder have happened suddenly vigorously. Then you also walk running with Yukanata making noise and officials with Kimiko-san. Fudo Shikasaki. Not out on the other hero this time people also to have been suggesting a state that is out to the side. Also to have come closer to my wife who also wants the horrors to a nearby book stand. Supposed to be Genji is unexpected is going to go back home. It was Mado, and what to do. Wife of about 2 people who were involved in the secret had been completely troubled. Ceased thunder. By the time the rain became a little let up a bit, came out the minister. The first time I went to visit toward the palace of Fudo-Shikasaki, because it was just also it started to make a rain quickly sound. Genji also Shoji also did not notice. The minister issued a face-up mistakes of sudden parlor his underling too. That's what? Because it was very scary night. I guess it was worried it had come as did not. Of Lieutenant General and Mia Rio is that out of that year. State that such is. There is nothing even calm seems the minister of twisters. Even while using the attention to the fact that Genji do not want to be discovered. It was not funny when I think then the minister to Sadaijin is at least the I should say things from entered into the parlor. Shoji but came out Azari while troubled. That the minister is still the disease has become red in the face as seen in what not been at all pleasant. I was worried that it will is there fever. Why are you I should have it. A little more is not a dual cultivation because it is wonder. Insistent mononoke of this kind of complexion. When you are saying, bands of Palone and Doiro of man is the minister of has been clings to the kimono of Shoji found. If you think that that's strange. Also what you have to waste writing the flashlight paper man has caught the eye also or messy in front of Kicho. Minister what is going on that terrible that what was surprised. Is it those who wrote, is not that strange, please, whether it is who of the characters I find. Shoji was said to look back and as himself found it. It has no other way to longer conceal than as nor can be the answer. Since Shoji is the as adapted to the stupefaction. If the nobles of as the minister. But my daughter is not must be a classy refrain that will feel. Not bear as to shame. There is no such compassion. An impatient, restless minister. From the gap of Kicho when picked up by hand the paper on its own. In the figure was supple. Without even trying to hide seems those who are guilty. Lying back and have a good time a man who is also seen. It was to conceal hidden the first time the face in the nightclothes seen the minister. The minister was startled. I thought it was rude. Do not be frustrated. But it was not able to throw the anger toward the truly face on the spot. Eyes has gone to the main room also dazzling feel like to have a paper that was written the song. Shoji is like going to mind is far away. Was worried enough to die. Genji also lover is a poor. By the poor act. Was comforted to say the variety of the Shoji hide finally also the mood while sorrow and fate came around to receive a formidable Kyuden. Minister along even inferiority complex in the old on alike nature cannot endure if Nashamawa. Out to the outside not remain that thought. Eloquently without also refrain from that. Such as it is better not say in consideration is a certain point. Was to soothe the inconvenience of the Genji and Shoji to Fudo-Shikasaki. First mentioned the fact that you witnessed. Character of this paper handkerchief is the character of the right general. Even before, but she's lover relationship depends on the temptation of general had been tied. Marriage also is without saying I am dissatisfied in honor of the person yo and I had to say. At that time, to be shown a fu there is no care at all. I did not become sorry. Be patient and this would also be fate. Forgiving his majesty also to me past sins and Jogi is ask and will give us forgive. Even if I put to the first chord as intended. But that do not take the openly Nyogo in order to there was that relationship. I thought all the time lonely and I have. It also has or does not commit this kind of crime. I will not help but sad. The man is outrageous who is also general that said it is all likely. Sacred saying that as he has sent a love letter those who say things like there was. You could not believe. Along with the whole world will suffer a plague if such a thing. To think that he himself would be knew that not stomach as it is. World in academic knowledge the one to become to Nabakashi did not doubt I'd in no way. Quote. I heard because it was not a thing as the ratio of the minister to become a hate you Genji of Fudo-Shikasaki became come in. have appeared in the great stomached Ashigao face color. His Majesty is also a Majesty. Irasharu is despised by everyone from long ago. The daughter minister of Chishi was also important, therefore. A brother Kun also did not try to raise you to those who are there you at Taishi. In the daughter younger brother. In a poor Genji edition of it was set aside for marriage to those who do not floor the year. In addition or not a person had decided to concubines of that person also crown prince. 2. Do you have a person who said it ended up temptation thing anyone dat bad dat parents? At that time, everyone to patronize the general, but was allowed to marry. It became kami. Smoketail raised to His Majesty the fu involuntary do is not as was. I think it's poor sister. My Torres the shrinkage in addition to the Nyogo us. I'll take the first honor of the Seraglio. Can be the revenge of the heartless person if so if I had broken a bone in such a mind. It is that of course there should be as such that the more that is exactly as it says kin people. Suffering from trying to seduce. Say in that looks good in that person. I person that Kakaru curse the contemporary regardless of the everything. It will be a matter of course as people who hope to reign of the crown prince also come early one day. Quote, in tight tone. Who's become even steadily worse you say it. The minister has heard more of those who have been reviled. It became poor. Why was regret and would have to talk. But this thing as you will be the time being secret. Please do not. I would like also to His Majesty. And what will He'll forgive even if there is. I think only there are graces your love of His Majesty. I doing commandments. If you still cannot hear any, I will accept responsibility. Quote, although the minister was a feeble offer not similar to the first of enthusiasm, such as control of the other food Oshikasaki, mood will not be repaired. It did not also possible to reduce the hatred of Genji. Also to the unscrupulous be in a dilemma that come to the premises that he is the queen mother also. Live together, and made to think you in will of mine that I want to show you more insult their own. Sooner our mood that's a shame just in, from which you'd be trying to kawada to yo to the exclusion of Genji and the motivation this.